12 moments, 12 times hip-hop rewrote the rules. But here's the thing, some of these stories got buried under the headlines.
You wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes.
You know the names, you heard the songs, but you don't know what really happened behind closed doors. The label politics, the betrayals, the moments when everything could have ended differently. This is the complete evolution of hip-hop, the one they don't teach you. Let's get into it. Number 12, DJ Kool Herc's Rec Room Party, August 11, 1973. A recreation room at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the South Bronx. Clive Campbell, you know him as DJ Kool Herc, and his sister Cindy throw a back-to-school party. But here's what most people don't tell you about that night. Herc didn't invent a new genre by accident. He brought something with him from Jamaica, the sound system culture, the dub plates, the way a DJ could control a crowd just by extending the break. That night, he took 2 copies of the same record. James Brown, Give It Up or Turn It Loose, the incredible bongo band's Apache, and he started isolating the breaks, looping them, creating what he called the merry-go-round. The breakdancers went crazy. The crowd had never heard anything like it. And here's the part that gets overlooked. Hip-hop wasn't supposed to make it out of that room. It was a Bronx thing, a block party thing. The industry wasn't paying attention. Radio wasn't interested. This was music for people the system had forgotten. Communities cut off from resources. Dealing with urban decay, looking for something that belonged to them. Then the thing nobody saw coming. Other DJs started copying the technique. Grandmaster Flash perfected it. Africa Bambaataa built on it. What started as a rent party became a movement. Not because some label executive greenlit it, because the streets demanded it. But that first night, that was just kids in a rec room trying to throw a party their parents could afford. They didn't know they were making history. They just knew the breaks felt good. And if you were there when hip-hop was born, not the packaged version, but the raw, unfiltered basement version, you remember exactly what that sounded like. Number 11, Rapper's Delight, hits the mainstream, 1979.
You see, I got more clothes than Muhammad Ali, and I dress so vicious.
The Sugar Hill Gang drops Rapper's Delight. Here's what you need to know about this one. It wasn't the first rap song. King Tim III by the Fatback Band came out a few months earlier, but Rapper's Delight was the first one to blow up.
With a double E. I said I go by the unforgettable name of the man they call a
Top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100, millions of copies sold worldwide. And here's where it gets political. The Sugar Hill Gang wasn't even the best crew in New York. Wonder Mike, Big Bang Hank, Master G, they weren't pioneers. They were assembled by Sylvia Robinson specifically to record this track. Hank borrowed his rhymes from Grandmaster Flash. Didn't credit him, didn't pay him. But Sylvia knew something the culture didn't yet understand. Hip-hop could sell, not just to the Bronx, to everybody. She pulled Chic's Good Times, a massive disco hit, and laid rap verses over it. Radio stations that wouldn't touch street tapes suddenly couldn't stop playing it. Then the backlash hit. The real pioneers felt disrespected. This wasn't their hip-hop. It was packaged, polished, sanitized for mainstream consumption, and they were right. This wasn't the raw cypher energy from the parks and the rec rooms. This was a product. But here's the tension nobody wants to talk about.
I take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall.
I got a color TV.
Rapper's Delight brought hip-hop out of the Bronx. It proved rap could be a business. For better or worse, it opened the door. The culture purists hated it. The labels suddenly paid attention. And once the industry smelled money, everything changed.
MCs for the affair. Now I'm not as tall as the rest of the gang, but I rap to the beat.
If you were in the Bronx when this dropped, you probably had mixed feelings. Pride that hip-hop made it out. Frustration that it didn't feel like yours anymore. And that tension just between the culture and the commerce never went away.
And the rest is F-L-Y. You see, I go by the code of the doctor of the mix.
If you made it this far, you already know. You're not here for the algorithm highlights and TikTok clips. You're here for the real story. Here's what's crazy. 96% of people watching right now won't subscribe. They'll get the knowledge, then YouTube will bury us in their feed forever, which means when we drop that upcoming video, you'll never see it. Look, hip-hop radio ain't for everybody, but if you're still here, it's definitely for you. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Real recognize real. Number 10, The Message changes everything. July 1st, 1982.
Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five dropped The Message. But here's what's wild about this one. They didn't even want to record it. Duke Booty and Mel Mel wrote The Message in response to the 1980 New York City transit strike.
Close to the edge. Trying not.
The whole city shut down for 12 days. The Bronx was already a war zone. Unemployment at 15 to 20%. Crack epidemic just starting. Gang violence everywhere. And this song didn't hide from any of it. Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the stairs like they just don't care.
Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care.
Raw, unflinching. No sugarcoating. Sylvia Robinson brought it to the group. And here's the thing. Flash and the rest of the Furious Five hated it. This wasn't party music. This wasn't braggadocio.
She couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to.
But Robinson pushed. Only Mel Mel and Duke Booty ended up on the final recording. Then it came out and the game changed. For the first time, hip-hop wasn't just entertainment. It was social commentary. It was journalism from the ground level.
It could be cheaper if I just got a job, learn to be a street sweeper, a dance to the beat.
Public Enemy, KRS-One, N.W.A. The entire conscious rap movement traces back to this moment. It peaked at number 62 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 4 on the R&B charts. In 2002, it became the first hip-hop recording ever inducted into the National Recording Registry. Rolling Stone later called it the greatest hip-hop song of all time. And here's what people forget. It almost didn't happen. The group didn't believe in it.
Makes me wonder how I keep from going under. My son said, Daddy, I don't want to.
The industry didn't think people wanted to hear about poverty and desperation. But the streets knew. The song connected because it told the truth. If you lived through Reagan-era New York, if you saw your neighborhood fall apart while the government looked the other way,
I'm trying not to lose my head.
You felt this song in your bones. And once hip-hop found its voice as protest music, there was no going back.
The edge, I'm trying not to lose.
Number 9, Run-D.M.C. and Aerosmith Break Down the Wall, July 4th, 1986. Independence Day, Run-D.M.C. and Aerosmith drop Walk This Way, and the wall between rock and hip-hop shattered. Here's the story you don't hear. Run-D.M.C. didn't even like the idea at first. Producer Rick Rubin pulled out Aerosmith's 1975 album Toys in the Attic and said, "You should remake this." Joseph Simmons and Daryl McDaniels looked at him like he lost his mind. They didn't know who Aerosmith was. They thought the lyrics were hillbilly gibberish, but Jam Master Jay was open to it. They tried it. Meanwhile, Aerosmith was washed up. Steven Tyler battling addiction. Joe Perry and Brad Whitford had left the band. They'd been out of mainstream culture for years. When they got the call to collaborate, Tyler literally told the video director, "Just don't make fools of us." The atmosphere on set was cold. The two groups barely spoke, but the track hit number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, higher than the original ever charted. First hip-hop single to crack the top 5. First hip-hop video to get heavy rotation on MTV. And here's what nobody expected. It didn't just cross over. It opened doors. Suddenly, MTV was playing hip-hop. Rock stations were playing rap. White suburban kids who never heard Run-D.M.C before were buying the album. Aerosmith's career came back from the dead. Joe Perry said it years later. It broke down walls. At the time, there were no minority acts on MTV except Michael Jackson. It definitely opened doors. But that tension at the video shoot, that wasn't just awkwardness. That was two worlds colliding. Hip-hop proving it could stand toe-to-toe with rock legends, and neither side was sure how to feel about it. If you were a hip-hop head in 1986, you watched this video and thought one of two things. Either, we made it, rock radio has to respect us now, or we're selling out, this isn't our sound anymore. Both were true. Number 8, N.W.A. in the birth of gangster rap, August 8th, 1988. N.W.A. drops Straight Outta Compton, and hip-hop's never been the same. Here's what you need to understand about this album. It wasn't supposed to go mainstream. Priority Records was an upstart label with no hip-hop credibility. N.W.A. had no major distribution. MTV banned the Straight Outta Compton video. Radio wouldn't touch it. The FBI sent a warning letter to Priority Records about "fuck the police." Venues refused to host N.W.A. concerts. Police declined to provide security for their shows, and it still sold over 1 million copies. First gangsta rap album to go platinum, because here's the thing the industry didn't understand. People were tired of sanitized rap. They wanted the unfiltered truth. Ice Cube's writing was brutal. Fuck the police wasn't entertainment, it was testimony. The LAPD was terrorizing South Central, and N.W.A. said it out loud. But then the complications hit. Dr. Dre was spending weekends in jail for traffic violations when they recorded "Fuck the Police." Ice Cube and MC Ren were writing lyrics for Eazy-E to deliver. The production was raw. Roland TR 808 drum machine, sampled horn blasts, turntable scratches.
Niggas won't show this, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma make my snaps. If not from the...
And here's the part that gets buried. The album came from pain. Ice Cube wrote "Fuck the Police" after cops stopped the group outside the studio, put them on their knees, demanded ID without explanation. It wasn't posturing, it was rage. Within a few years, the group fell apart. Label politics, money disputes. Dre left for death row. Cube went solo. Eazy died in 1995 from AIDS. But the album, in 2016, it became the first rap album inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. In 2017, the Library of Congress added it to the National Recording Registry. If you're from Compton, if you watch the LAPD treat your neighborhood like occupied territory, you know this album wasn't controversial. It was just true. And once hip-hop started telling uncomfortable truths, the establishment tried to shut it down. But the streets weren't listening to the FBI. Number 7, Tupac Shakur dies September 13th, 1996. September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. Tupac Shakur gets shot 4 times in a drive-by after the Mike Tyson fight. 6 days later, September 13th, he's dead. And here's what most people don't know about what led to that moment. The beef started in 1994. Tupac got shot 5 times in the lobby of Quad Recording Studios in New York. He survived, but he believed Biggie, Puff Daddy, and Bad Boy Records knew about it ahead of time. Whether they did or not, Tupac never let it go. Suge Knight bailed him out of prison for $1.4 million. Pac signed to death row. And from that point on, the East Coast West Coast beef wasn't just industry politics, it was personal. Hit 'em up wanted everybody. Biggie, Puff, Mobb Deep, Lil' Kim. Pac claimed he slept with Faith Evans, Biggie's wife. Faith denied it, but the damage was done.
I slide in easily, try greasily, sluts know the cut. I came to fuck, try squeezing.
September 7th, Tupac and Suge's crew jumped Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, a Southside Crips member, in the MGM Grand Lobby. Caught on camera, security broke it up. Anderson left in a white Cadillac with 3 other men.
I make a promise if you go with me, just let me know I had to holler in my name out before I leave.
A few hours later, that same Cadillac pulled up next to Suge's BMW at a red light. Someone opened fire. Tupac took 4 shots. Suge got grazed. Tupac died 6 days later. He was 25. And here's what still haunts people.
When I started to snap, slow your road, I'm straight in control.
The case was never solved, no arrests, no convictions. In 2023, 27 years later, they finally charged Dwayne Keffe D. Davis as the alleged shot caller. But for decades, it was just speculation.
Addicted to the things you do, it's still true. What I'm saying, boo, is this is...
The streets had theories, the industry stayed quiet, and hip-hop lost one of its greatest voices. If you were in the culture in 1996, you remember exactly where you were when you heard, and you remember the fear that came after.
No matter where I go, I see the same hood.
Because if they could kill Tupac, nobody was safe. The beef didn't end with his death, it got worse.
Running up in it just like dinner when I've been at the most. I fuck a bitch from the West Coast.
Number 6, the notorious B.I.G. is murdered, March 9th, 1997.
Stretch Lexus is the sex is just immaculate. From the back I get deep.
6 months after Tupac's death, Los Angeles. The notorious B.I.G. gets shot and killed in a drive-by on Wilshire Boulevard, unsolved, just like Tupac's. Here's what Faith Evans said about the moments after Tupac got shot. I remember Big calling me and crying. I know for a fact he was in Jersey. He was in shock. I think he was probably afraid, given everything going on and all the hype around this so-called beef he didn't really have in his heart. Because that's the thing, the beef was manufactured.
Rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knocking the Mitsubishi.
Amplified by labels, by media, by people who had money to make off the tension. Bad Boy versus Death Row. New York versus Los Angeles. East Coast versus West Coast. But the artists, a lot of them were just trying to make music. Biggie wanted to end it. After Tupac died, he tried to de-escalate.
Like his brother Keenan scheming. Don't leave your girl around me, true player for real.
But it was too late. March 9th, Biggie was leaving a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. He got into a GMC Suburban. A black Chevy Impala SS pulled up next to them at a red light. Driver rolled down the window, opened fire.
Unless it smells like sanitation, garbage I turn like doorknobs.
Biggie took 4 shots. He was dead within the hour. He was 24. And just like Tupac's case, nobody was ever charged. Theories point to Suge Knight, LAPD corruption, retaliation for Tupac's death, but officially unsolved. A week later, Louis Farrakhan organized a peace summit for hip-hop. The Coastal War was supposed to end, but the damage was done. 2 of the greatest to ever do it, dead within 6 months. Both murders unsolved for decades.
The passion, your man's a wimp, I get that ass a good thrashing, high fashion.
And here's what's painful about this moment. It didn't have to happen. The beef was real, but it was also business. Labels profiting off tension, media feeding the fire, and 2 young men caught in the middle.
Call them, tell them you be home real late and sing the break,
If you lived through 1996 and 1997, if you watched hip-hop lose Tupac and Biggie back-to-back, you know the culture changed. The joy left, the paranoia set in, and for a long time after, hip-hop felt like it was mourning.
I got the
Number 5, The Blueprint drops on September 11th, 2001.
That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. H to the S.
Same day the Twin Towers fell, Jay-Z drops The Blueprint, and somehow, against everything happening in the world, the album still hits number 1. Here's what you don't hear about the context.
That's the anthem, get your damn hands up. Yeah, Hope is back.
Jay-Z was awaiting 2 criminal trials when he recorded this, one for gun possession, one for the 1999 stabbing of Lance and Rivera. He had legitimate beef with Nas and Prodigy. Takeover went at both of them.
H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. For shizzle, my nizzle used to dribble down.
The album was supposed to drop a week earlier. They moved it up to combat bootlegging. Jay was in Los Angeles shooting the Girls, Girls, Girls video when the planes hit. The first 2 tour dates got canceled. He donated $1 from every ticket sold to relief organizations. But the album still sold 427,000 copies first week.
H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. That's the anthem, get.
Went platinum within a month, 2 times platinum within 8 months. And here's what made The Blueprint a turning point. It brought back soul sampling. Kanye West produced 4 tracks, Just Blaze produced 3.
Short with cheese, I will work with them. Bored and got rid of that dirt for them.
They flipped classic soul records, sped up vocals, warm bass lines, live instrumentation. At a time when digital production dominated, The Blueprint sounded organic, human. The album shifted the entire sound of hip-hop. Conscious rap came back.
All the years that you hold us, we can talk, but money talk, so talk more bucks.
Soul-based production became the template. Kanye's chipmunk soul style on The College Dropout that started here. In 2018, the Library of Congress selected The Blueprint for the National Recording Registry. First 21st century album to get that honor, but here's the haunting part. The album dropped hours before the towers fell. People were buying it while New York burned. Jay-Z's paranoia about criminal trials, about industry beef. It mirrored the national paranoia after the attacks.
H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. That's the anthem, get your damn.
And somehow, in all that chaos, the album became a blueprint for where hip-hop went next. If you were in New York on September 11th, you probably didn't think about this album for weeks.
In my palm, watching the long arm of the law, so you know I seen it all before.
But when you finally came back to it, it felt different, like a voice from before everything changed.
Wasn't born hustlers, I was birthing them. H to the Izzo, V to the.
Number 4, Eminem wins the Oscar, 2002 to 2003.
These ropes, it don't matter, he's dope, he knows that, but he's broke, he's so stagnant, he knows.
November 8th, 2002. 8 Mile hits theaters. Lose Yourself becomes a cultural moment. Here's what people forget. Eminem was already huge. The Marshall Mathers LP sold 1.76 million copies in its first week. But hip-hop still wasn't respected. It was popular, it sold, but it wasn't seen as art. 8 Mile changed that. The movie was semi-autobiographical. White rapper from Detroit trying to make it in a genre dominated by black artists.
His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already.
Poverty, trailer parks, rap battles. The whole film was about legitimacy. Can you earn respect when you don't look like you belong? Lose Yourself was written in Eminem's trailer between scenes. Jeff Bass and Louis Resto on production. M crafted the beat, then started writing. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. The song stayed at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 weeks. Then February 23rd, 2003, the 75th Academy Awards. Lose Yourself wins Best Original Song. First hip-hop song ever to win an Oscar. Eminem wasn't there. Louis Resto accepted the award, but 17 years later at the 2020 Oscars, M performed it as a surprise. Standing ovation. And here's what that Oscar meant. Hip-hop wasn't just street music anymore. It wasn't just pop crossover, it was cinema. It was Academy-level storytelling, but the tension was real. Eminem spent his whole career fighting for legitimacy as a white rapper in a black genre. The Oscar validated him.
Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop.
But it also raised questions. Would a black rapper have won for the same song? Was Eminem's whiteness part of why mainstream America embraced him, or did he genuinely earn it? Both can be true. 8 Mile grossed $242 million worldwide. The soundtrack sold 3.2 million copies in 2 months. The movie introduced underground rap battles to mainstream audiences, and for a moment, hip-hop felt accessible to everyone. Not because it changed, because Hollywood finally paid attention. If you were a hip-hop purist in 2003, you watched Eminem collect that Oscar and felt complicated, pride that the culture got recognized, frustration that it took a white face to make it happen. The culture doesn't forget that kind of tension.
This world is mine for the taking. Make me king as we move.
Number 3, OutKast breaks every rule. 2003 to 2004. September 23rd, 2003. OutKast drops Speaker Box / The Love Below double album. 2 solo projects packaged as one. Big Boy's half is Dirty South Funk. Andre 3000's half is Everything Else. Jazz, rock, funk, electronic, R&B, barely any rap on it. Hey Ya was Andre's song, written in 2000, recorded in 2002, inspired by the Ramones, the Hives, the Smiths, and nobody knew what to do with it. Radio programmers were confused. It wasn't hip-hop, it wasn't pop, it wasn't rock, it was all 3. MTV put it in rotation anyway. The video was based on the Beatles' 1964 Ed Sullivan performance. Andre played all 8 band members. Hits number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It stayed there for 9 weeks. Then The Way You Move, Big Boy's single, went to number 2. When Hey Ya finally dropped from number 1 on February 14, 2004, The Way You Move took over. OutKast had the number 1 and number 2 songs on the Billboard Hot 100 simultaneously. First hip-hop group to do that. The album sold over 5 million copies. Certified diamond for 10 million units shipped. By 2023, it was 13 times platinum. February 8, 2004, the Grammy Awards, OutKast won Album of the Year, first hip-hop act ever to win that award. But here's what gets lost. It was the first song in history to rack up 1 million digital downloads. Platinum status as a download before anyone else. iTunes launched in 2001, went Windows compatible in 2003, became the proof of concept. People would pay 99 cents for a single track instead of buying the whole album. That shift destroyed the traditional album model, and it started here. But there was controversy too. The 2004 Grammy performance featured an Indian theme, teepees, dancers dressed like stereotypes. Native American groups called it racist. CBS apologized. And here's the tension. OutKast broke every rule, crossed every genre, won every award, but they also stumbled. And the backlash showed that even when hip-hop wins, it's walking a tightrope. If you were in the culture in 2003, Hey Ya felt like validation. Hip-hop could be anything. It didn't have to stay in a box, but it also felt like the end of something. After this, the digital era took over. The album stopped mattering. The single was king. Number 2, Kanye changes the blueprint, February 10th, 2004.
Oh man, they got my mouth wired shut for like, I don't know, Dr. Shit like 6.
Kanye West drops the College Dropout, and hip-hop's trajectory shifts. Here's what people forget. Kanye couldn't get signed. Labels looked at him and saw a producer, not a rapper. He didn't fit the mold.
I got a lawyer for the case to keep us in my safe. My dogs couldn't tell.
Pink polo shirts, backpack, middle-class background, no street credibility, Capitol Records passed. Damon Dash at Rockefeller reluctantly signed him. Even Jay-Z admitted later that they didn't take Kanye seriously as a rapper, but Kanye kept pushing.
Yeah, I drink a boost for breakfast, an insure for dessert.
He recorded the album over 4 years, starting in 1999. He produced almost every track himself. Chipmunk soul production, sped up vocal samples from classic soul and R&B records. It was warm, nostalgic, human.
What if somebody from the shadow was ill, got a deal on the...
And the content, completely different from what was dominating radio. 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying was the blueprint in 2003. Gangster rap, violence, materialism, that was hip-hop.
I was gonna have a plate in my chin. I said, dog,
Jesus Walks was about faith. Labels told him it wouldn't get radio play. It won the Grammy for Best Rap Song in 2005. All Falls Down was about materialism and insecurity. Through the Wire was recorded with his jaw wired shut after a car accident. Family Business was about family trauma.
Really putting it down, and he explained the story.
The album sold 441,000 copies first week, debuted at number 2. Slow Jams became his first number 1 single. At the 2005 Grammys, it won Best Rap Album. It was nominated for Album of the Year. And here's what the College Dropout proved.
She can't be serious, man.
Hip-hop didn't have to be gangsta. It didn't have to be hard. You could rap about self-doubt, about faith, about regular life, and still win. Common, Lupe Fiasco, Childish Gambino, Kendrick Lamar, they all cite Kanye as the reason they believed they could exist in mainstream hip-hop.
Hottest rap label around, but he wasn't talking about coke and birds, it was more like...
But here's the cost. Kanye's ego was already massive. Dame Dash said Kanye would jump on tables in meetings, tell executives he'd be bigger than their biggest artists. The success validated that ego. And over the next 2 decades, we watched what happened when that ego had no checks.
Realize I'll never make it on a plane now. It's bad enough I got all this jewelry on.
But in 2004, the College Dropout was a breath of fresh air. It said hip-hop could evolve. It could be introspective. It could question itself.
Oh man, they got my mouth wired shut for like, I don't know, exactly shit, like 6.
If you were tired of gangster rap in 2004, this album felt like permission. You could love hip-hop and still be yourself, and that opened doors for a whole generation.
I got a lawyer for the case to keep us in my safe. My dogs couldn't tell.